Good morning. Good morning and welcome to this good day. My name is Leon Dunkley. I am the minister serving North Universalist Chapel Society here in Woodstock, Vermont. I'm very glad to see you this morning. It's so good to be together. Today is Sunday, April 19th in 2020, and the title of this morning's reflection is The Essential Wrestling. To this service and to this good day, I bid you welcome, to the dreamers and to the seekers of spirit, to the soft-spoken and the outspoken singers of life. Let no single heart from out the whole be gone from us, not gone, from the widening circles of our affection, but held whole in beauty, bound by grace and built by love of life, of light, and of laughter. To all souls I say, good morning, it is good to be together. Our opening hymn is Morning Has Broken. Please rise in body and spirit and join in the singing. As we enter our time for the sharing of joys and concerns, I'd like to acknowledge a bit of sad and hopeful news. Captain Crozier might be reinstated. Captain Brett Crozier is the naval officer who was removed from his command of the USS Theodore Roosevelt, a Nimitz-class nuclear-powered aircraft carrier that was at sea near Guam. He was removed after he openly pleaded for help in fighting the coronavirus outbreak on his vessel. He did not observe the prescribed protocol during his communications and was removed from his position, but the word is that he might be being reinstated. Sadly, one of his crewmen, Chief Petty Officer Charles Thacker Jr. of Fort Smith, Arkansas, died last Monday of the coronavirus. Officer Thacker is survived by his wife, Samantha, and by their 2 children. Blessings to that family, and thank you for your service. In grace and gratitude, I wish them well and send every blessing. Now is the time in the service for the sharing of joys and concerns. If you have a joy or a concern in your heart, I invite you to share it at this time from wherever we are right now. Let us call out the names of those we care for. Let us call out what is in our hearts, sending this good light over to North Chapel. Let's let our joys and concerns combine, breathing in and breathing out, breathing out and breathing in. May we gather these good winds into this humble sanctuary, this cathedral of our presence happening, wherever we are. I share 4 things. The first candle is a candle of concern that comes from Carol Egbert, a candle of concern for the anxieties that sometimes seem to be lurking around the corners of our lives. May we soften and meet each of these centered, grounded, and self-assured. The next candle is a candle of joy from our dear Ginny Christie over the river in New Hampshire. She is delighted to be connecting with this congregation, connecting with us, through her friend and ours, Fran Lancaster. If you would like to be in touch with Ginny Christie, please contact Fran Lancaster. She has the contact information that you need. I've lit a third candle of concern for Lori Marshall, whose best friend from childhood, a woman named Suzanne, was just diagnosed with lung cancer. And although Suzanne is grounded within herself, it is difficult for her to think about not being able to be there for her children, who she obviously loves so very dearly. May we hold Suzanne and her family in our loving embrace. Lastly, I've lit a candle for Clara Jimenez. Friday, April 17th, marked the last day of her chemotherapy regimen. Blessings to her and to her loved ones for continued strength, peace, and possibility. This is a time for the sharing of joys and concerns. Let's take a moment to allow the things that are in our hearts to gather here at North Chapel. For all the joys that have been spoken, and for those that remain in the silent sanctuary of our hearts, I will light one more candle. May we keep all of this in our hearts and be grateful for these days we spend together, these days that have our names written upon them. For this, I will light this candle. May we hold all of this in compassionate community as we enter a time of meditation and prayerfulness. I'd like to begin this morning with something that's a little light. I miss the little activities. I miss the conveniences, like going out for coffee. I miss the meaningless wrestling that I do about how I would like my coffee in the morning, how much cream, how much sugar. I miss the high calculus of trying to figure out my preference for macchiato or Americano or cappuccino, or how much steam. It all seems so important at the time, and I miss all of that. And I miss the unpredictable things that happen in life, even when they don't happen. Do you know what I mean? Now, I'm a social coffee drinker. I'm not really that serious about it. But there are plenty of people that get pretty serious about their coffee. And there are those of us for whom words like upset and angry don't nearly describe the feeling that they have when they're disappointed about their coffee. I have some friends who react quite strongly, whose reaction I would describe in the words of tameless rage. My friends don't have a blind rage. I have a couple of friends who came to my house some time ago and stayed over, and in the morning we awoke and went downstairs to make some breakfast, and they said, "Where's your coffee machine?" And I said, "I don't have one." And bad things happened. It was a funny day, but it was an awkward moment, as funny as it was. But I would describe that feeling as tameless rage. In antiquity, there was a great bard of history whose name was Homer. He wrote a classic book called the Iliad. It began as follows. Rage. Goddess, sing the rage of Peleus' son Achilles, murderous, doomed, that cost the Achaeans countless losses. That's how I felt in the kitchen in the morning when I didn't have my coffee maker. I felt doomed and at risk of mortal injury. The Achaeans, by the way, that's the word that Homer used to describe the ancient Greeks. So here's the passage, uninterrupted. Rage. Goddess, sing the rage of Peleus' son Achilles, murderous, doomed, that cost the Achaeans countless losses, hurtling down to the house of death so many sturdy souls, great fighters' souls, but made their bodies carrion, feasts for the dogs and birds, and the will of Zeus was moving towards its end. Begin, muse, when the two first broke and clashed, Agamemnon, lord of men, and brilliant Achilles. Homer's Iliad begins with a wrestling match, with a barroom brawl, with a fight, with an ancient battle between worthy adversaries. It was first described 7 centuries before the Common Era, and the story has been with us ever since. I do realize that this is a lot of cultural firepower in support of the idea that I just didn't have a coffee maker in the morning. I can see that, but it's important to know that my friends feel very passionately about their coffee, and it's important to make analogies between this time and other times. The Iliad was written a long time ago. A lot can change over the course of 30 centuries. The times have changed for sure, but the essential conflicts that we face are the same. We fight the same kind of fight, in a matter of speaking, still today. We fight the fight between the needs of fearful and jealous kings and their dutiful soldiers. The hero Achilles has been described as the most hypersensitive fighting machine in the history of warfare. He is known as the soldier who, because of his rage for having to surrender that which mattered most to him, isolates himself defiantly outside of the very society whose protector he is, and whose need of him is enormous. It's a brilliant piece of writing. It's an incredible situation to find oneself in. But the ancient story isn't working for us in the same way that it worked for us before. In real ways, times have changed. And not that our kings know very much about this, but we have all become one people now. In the face of this challenge, we are one. We may still wear different uniforms, but we now fight a common enemy, a terrible virus that makes a mockery of our tanks and our battleships, that laughs at our national borders and our cultural differences, that shakes its head at the petty wars we fight. Dr. Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus is the leader of the World Health Organization. He's been playing a vital role in the public conversation about the global pandemic. And the global leaders around the world have responded differently. Some countries have been more effective than others. We here in the States have been slow and defensive or self-defensive in our reaction. We've been fearful and proud when genuine compassion was called for. It seems like we've forgotten how to fight the good fight, forgotten how to wrestle with the truly important questions. Now, you might get a kick out of this, but I found a great YouTube video a couple of days ago. It was called Jacob Wrestles with God. Of course, it was inspired by the biblical passage from Genesis, but this YouTube video is a wrestling match. It is a still life animation of the fight between two plastic action hero figurines. It's crude and it's fantastic. It's the staging of the fight between Jacob and God, who is represented by a muscle-bound character named Mysterious Angel Dude. You got to see it. It's a SmackDown-style reenactment of Genesis 32, verses 24 to 31 are as follows. So Jacob was left alone, and a man wrestled with him till daybreak. And when the man saw that he could not overpower him, he touched the socket of Jacob's hip, and that hip was wrenched as he wrestled with the man. Then the man said, "Let me go, for it is daybreak." And Jacob replied, "I will not let you go unless you bless me. I will not let you go unless you bless me." What do you think of that idea? In these times, what does it mean to wrestle with our angels? What does it mean to wrestle down our rage until it flowers? Now, I love pro wrestling in the ancient sense, like the epic battle between Agamemnon and Achilles. And I love pro wrestling in the biblical sense, like the sacred match between Jacob and God, otherwise known as the Mysterious Angel Dude. It's so much better than the brutal stuff that's on cable TV these days. So Jacob wrestled with an angel and took a hard blow to his hip, a blow that laid him low, but he didn't give up. He didn't surrender, he stayed fierce. And the angel that laid him low was God. How incredible is that? And the angel that fought with Jacob fought to a holy end, to purify Jacob's heart about the ways he'd wronged his brother, and to open the inner doors of forgiveness, the ones that don't crack open at all without a fight. Now, I'm stubborn like that. I wrestle with myself all the time. I fight against what I know is best in me. I struggle against it. I wrestle. I resist the very change that I know would do me a lot of good. I can wrestle with the best of them, but the wins don't satisfy unless I have been honest in the fight. When I fight to win, I risk inflating my ego or bruising it. Neither is good. When I fight for what is best in myself, when I fight for what is best and highest in all of us, it's always good. So it would seem the choice is clear. Now, I'm not much of a wrestler, but I do watch it on occasion. I'm not proud of that, but I do. Sometimes I learn things about strategy and perseverance. Sometimes I'm just pretty grossed out. It's a gruesome sport in its current incarnation, but back in the day, back in my high school years, back when we were more civil to one another, I used to think that wrestling was really cool. Now, I used to go to the matches. We would all go to into the gymnasium, and the gym would be packed, absolutely packed with teenagers, and the bleachers would be filled to capacity. We would take our book bags and put them between our feet. We would take off our coats and throw them somewhere. We would all be so excited because we knew what was about to happen. You could feel the tension building in the air, and once everyone was seated, particularly the opposing team, the house lights would come down, and a spotlight in the middle of the gym that shot right down like a laser beam from like a rebel starship, and it just sort of cut through the roof. A spotlight would come down in the center of the mat, and a door would fly open, and light would pour into the darkness, and the wrestling team would come jogging in, fierce, pumped, and fantastic. Everyone was into it, except for the opposing team, who we were totally trying to intimidate, shamelessly. The house lights would come down, the spotlight would come up, and we'd scream, and the team would rush in as they did, and the downbeat would hit, and music would blare over the PA system, and we would all start to sing Rolling Stones. Even the home team parents were on board with all of this, and we'd sing a song called Sympathy for the Devil. Please allow me to introduce myself. I'm a man of wealth and taste. Hoo-hoo! And we would all be singing. It would be hilarious and fun and exciting. Pleased to meet you. I hope you guess my name. So fun. So fun. And on top of all of this, Mike Brown ran into the gym like a conquering hero, like a natural champion, and he won us all over before he ever touched the mat. He was a hero to me. I never knew him personally, but he was a hero, and he still is today. Mike Brown was one of the leaders of the team, and probably its captain. I can't remember. But he was one of the fearsome fighters I've ever seen, most fierce fighters I've ever seen. I never knew how, and no one really talked much about it, but Mike Brown had lost one of his legs in an accident when he was younger. In spite of this, or maybe because of it, he jogged in boldly with the rest of the team, just like everybody else. It was powerful. Watching the team win in every weight class, or watching them lose triumphantly, was something that I will never forget, never in my life. Mike Brown taught us a lot about ourselves. He taught us that sometimes you have to fight like hell to stay at your best, to stay true to what you believe in. Sometimes you have to wrestle with the angels. The last week, Ron DeSantis, the governor in the state of Florida, spent his work week thinking about pro wrestling. He spent his time working to classify professional wrestling events as essential services during the lockdown. It was a holy bummer for me to read about, and at the same time, the United States was announcing that it would be withholding funds from the World Health Organization. This news was like a 1-2 punch to my soul, and it almost knocked me out, but then I remembered to open the inner doors of forgiveness. Jacob had wrestled with an angel, and he would not let go. I had to wrestle with this. Excellent leaders can do this kind of work. Fearful and jealous ones cannot. We're hurting right now. We should be brave and honest enough to say that out loud. As a global community, we've suffered. As a global community, we've suffered nearly 50 9/11s in terms of loss of life. And we've suffered this at the hands of a viral terrorist, a virus terrorist organization that is far too numerous for armies to pursue. The angel I wrestle with is teaching me two things on this good day. To purify my heart about the way that I've wronged my brother, my sister, my parents, or my child. metaphorically speaking. To open the inner doors of forgiveness, the ones that don't crack open without a good fight. So I admit it. When I first heard the news about pro wrestling as an essential service, I did get upset and angry. I became filled with a tameless rage. But I was blind with it. I wasn't angry in a healthy way. I was slack-jawed at the news that I read online. But I needed to realize that stride and sea collapses. So let's adjust our wrestling strategy accordingly. And let's hold on to one another and not let go. And who among us is strong enough to hold on and not let go? Professional wrestlers. Conor McGregor, chief among them. What impresses me most about him are his moments of great humanity. We, meaning all of humanity, we're up against a powerful adversary now. It can lock us down. It can tap us out if it chooses to. We need to find a way to keep our balance in the midst of this terrible fight between truth and falsehood, between substance and shadow. When I'm off balance, I sometimes cannot tell the difference. Maybe it's the same for you. I think there's a closeness, though, in compromise. From a balanced place, I'm able to see things from a broader perspective. And I don't get as upset as often. What I love and what I still love about Mike Brown, the wrestler that I knew back in high school with one leg, what I love about him is that he learned to wrestle with his angel. And even with his one leg, he held his balance. Even the best among us fall down occasionally, mistaking truth for falsehood, mistaking wisdom and wishful thinking. It's not hard to fall down. We all do it. When we are blind with rage, it's almost inevitable. But raging blindness isn't what we need right now. We need N95 face masks and we need personal protective equipment. And we need the strength to hold on to one another and not let go. That's what hope means today. That's what it means to fight the good fight. Conor McGregor made a passionate statement advocating for taking aggressive measures at this time. Whatever his shortcomings, it's safe to say that he knows a lot about aggressive measures. He said, "I know a good fight when I see one, and we have one on our hands right now. True lockdown must begin, and it must begin now. A lockdown together, a lockdown united." He was really talking to all of us. These methods are stringent but necessary and have worked in Hong Kong and China. Ireland, we've got this, he said. Let's go, Ireland. Let's go, world. Lock down together. Together we stand. God bless us all. In closing, Ireland is all about being fantastic these days. I'm utterly compelled by the spirit of Ireland, especially after learning that they plan to quadruple their contributions to the World Health Organization in the coming year. There are so many ways to fight, so many ways to struggle against the way things are right now. But fighting beautifully, this is the essential struggle. This is the essential wrestling. To fight, to hold on to one another, and not let go of that which is highest in us. In good times and in tempest, in conflict and in consensus, held, whole, and honored by a love that knows no bounds. This is our main event for the evening. So let's touch gloves, and let's ring the bell, and let's get right down to it, shall we? May it be so. Blessed be, and amen.
going nowhere. I'll go nowhere with you any day. Yeah, you say we're going nowhere. I'll go nowhere with you any which old way. You're a mean old woman, I'm a schmuck of a man, but you love me, baby, just the way I am, and I love you surely. You say we're going nowhere, I'll go nowhere with you any day. Yeah, you say we're going nowhere, I'll go nowhere with you any which old way. On the boardwalk, baby, lights come on, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Without you, I don't know if I could stay alive. You say we're going nowhere, I'll go nowhere with you any day. Yeah, you say we're going nowhere, I'll go nowhere with you any which old way. Sun loves the sea. No matter where you are, baby, you ain't far from me. You say we're going nowhere, I'll go nowhere with you any day. Yeah, you say we're going nowhere,